going here. I want to welcome everybody to the KryptoGeneX presentation for today. My name is Chris Hanks. For those of you who don't know me, I'm affectionately known in the industry by the name of Krypto Kris, and I have my sidekick on the phone with me. He's a little bit disabled today, but he is present. His name is Krypto Joe Hamilton. Joe, say hey.
Hey guys, sorry, I'm having some internet issues kind of terribly, so I didn't mess the thing up today, so we're just gonna let Chris roll with it. Sorry about that.
That's okay, buddy. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support. So I want to go right into talking to everybody today. And again, I want to thank everyone for coming. I also would like to let everyone know that you're here to see the KryptoGeneX presentation. So my name again is Chris Hanks. I'm affectionately known as Krypto Kris. And before I start the presentation, I like to do something that one of my mentors, Steve McCullough, does quite well, and that's tell a story. So I want to get everybody a little bit warm and fuzzy with my story. And how does my story go? Well, if we back up to about 6 years ago, I was retired after 20 some years in the industry, on and offline, being successful in any number of different business adventures that I had decided to join. Some of them network marketing, some of them brick and mortar. And along with those successes, I had some failures as well. And, I call that the learning curve. So 6 years ago, I was completely retired. A good friend of mine, Kathy Key. Hey, Joe, mute for me, please. Thank you. A good friend of mine, Kathy Keene, called me up, and I was taking care of my mom at that particular time. And my mom had lung cancer, and I was there to take care of her. And Kathy called me, and we talked back and forth. So it wasn't unusual for her to call me. And she said, after she asked me how things were going, and I told her, she said, Chris, I want you to do me a favor. I said, what's that? She said, I want you to buy Bitcoin. And I was like, a what? She said, I want you to buy a Bitcoin. I'm like, I don't know what a Bitcoin is. And she says, well, it's $23. What's it going to hurt? Just buy a Bitcoin. I said, Kathy, I love you to death. I said, but quite honestly, the thing about it is that my mom's not doing real well, and all I can think about is taking care of her. I said, but I promise you, as soon as I'm ready, I'll give you a call and we'll talk about it. We talked on and off for the last 6 years. She never mentioned it again until fast forward approximately 5 years. Now, what I would like to mention is I didn't buy that $23 Bitcoin. And being the person that I am, I probably would have taken about $500 and bought $500 worth of Bitcoins, not just one Bitcoin for $23. So just to be clear, I want everybody to know that you're not talking to a multimillionaire at the moment, because I did not buy that Bitcoin, okay? But what I did do was I watched Kathy, and I watched what was going on in the industry. And for a number of reasons of different circumstances, I was not able to engage. So none of those being financial, all of them being personal. And so when I do something, I give it 155% always. And so about 5 years passed, and we're about a year ago now, and the universe decided that it was going to play a funny little trick on Chris, okay? And that funny little trick was that at 48 years old, the universe thought that I needed to raise a 7-year-old boy, not just any boy, but a special needs boy. And not that that's different for any other reason than, when you have a child with special needs, you never know what might come up financially or what their life might turn out like after they are what we would normally call adult age. And so, my spouse and I were sitting at the kitchen table, and we were talking about being retired, and, our home and everything we have was paid for, and we had a very modest income. We had some nice savings. We had some investments. We weren't hurting by any means, but we began to have the conversation of what's it going to look like if we get this child, this little boy, permanently? What are we going to do? You know, what are going to be the expenses financially? What does that look like? And with both of us being, you know, around 50, we began to talk about, well, what if this young man, when he becomes, you know, adult age, is not able to, for some reason, financially support himself or take care of himself, and he needs to have some help with that. So we began to think that maybe we needed to look at our future just a little bit more and see what we could do to fix that. Now, both of us have on our resume who does not play well with others. Okay. So basically what that means is we don't like to be told what to do. And normally when you have a job, someone else is telling you exactly what to do and what not to do. We were not amicable to that situation. So we were talking, we said, you know, maybe it's time to find something online that maybe we could do, and maybe we could create some money. So the light bulb went off over our head and we said, hey, let's call Kathy. So we called Kathy and I said, Kathy, you know, you were doing that Bitcoin thing. How about telling me a little bit about the Bitcoin thing? And she laughed and she said, well, I could tell you it's a little bit more than the $23 that it was the last time we spoke. And I said, well, that's probably a good thing, right? And she said, yes. And so she asked me, she said, Kris, I need to know what your goals are, because Kathy had a couple different things that she was involved with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And she wanted to make sure that she steered me in the right direction. And I said, well, to be honest with you, Kathy, I'm not really looking to build a team or to go back to work. I've been retired too long. I kind of enjoy my days. I get up when I want to, you know, I go to bed when I want to. If I want to go on vacation, I do. You know, I don't really have any restraints. And she said, well, she said, what is your goal, your number one goal? And I said, well, I'd like to take some money that I already have, and I'd like to make that money make me some more money. Is that possible? And she said, well, you know, after about 30 or 45 minutes, she said, I think I know where we need to go with you. And I think I have a solution. And I said, great. And so that was the day that I got into cryptocurrency. It happened to have been on a weekend. And I bought my first Bitcoin at $1,850. Now, the reason I tell you what I bought my first Bitcoin for was because the next part of the story is really interesting. But she wanted to know what my money was making for me now. Okay. And I laughed and I told her my money was sitting in the bank. It wasn't doing anything but collecting dust. They weren't paying me anything. And she laughed and she said, well, I think we've got a solution. So that very first week in cryptocurrency, we happened to jump from about $1,850 just under the $3,000 mark. And I made about $180 that first week. I was beyond myself. Okay. I was over the moon. I was happy, and that's putting it politely. And so I called Kathy and I said, this is crazy. This is awesome. How am I supposed to stay quiet about this? And she said, you don't have to. She said, the program that I showed you actually has an affiliate side to it if you'd like to know about it. And I said, well, you know, I'm really not ready for that right now, but I am going to tell some people, and I think I want some more Bitcoin. And so that was the beginning of my Bitcoin journey. Now we'll fast forward a year, and I've had some great success with Bitcoin, and I owe a lot of that success to Kathy King and to a couple other people. And you know, what interests me about what I'm about to present to you is that Kathy had this kind of idea in her head all along. Like when she showed me the program that I participated in, and then several other programs that I participated in, she kind of took me by the hand. She mentored me and she said, don't do this, but do this. Stay away from that. But this is probably a good thing. And she kind of steered me. And so, you know, that was really important to me. And I think she had the idea of KryptoGeneX in her mind. She just didn't know what it was. So with that being said, we're going to start out today and we're going to talk about KryptoGeneX. And what I'd like to say here is, ladies and gentlemen, I have been right here. I've been on the outside of this Bitcoin door looking in, and you might possibly be there with me at this moment. Now, what I would also like to stress here is that is a door, and that's important because KryptoGeneX is the key to the lock on this Bitcoin door. Why is that important? It's important because when you put the KryptoGeneX key in the lock that opens this Bitcoin door, we open the education world up to everyone. And that is a beautiful thing. So you're probably wondering, if you're brand new to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, well, what is a Bitcoin? And why do we talk about Bitcoin all the time? And what is this other cryptocurrency you keep saying? Well, Bitcoin's a cryptocurrency. But the reason that we reference Bitcoin so much is because it's the one that gets the attention. Okay, it's the one that people hear. It's the one that the media will talk about all the time. It's the one that was first. So Bitcoin, to answer the question, is a decentralized digital currency. And I'll tell you a little bit more about Bitcoin down the road in this presentation. The next question we get asked a lot is, Kris, is it real? Well, I can tell you it's as real as the mustache on my face, and I put it on my BitPay card and I spend it everywhere. I go to Walmart, I spend it. I go to the gas station, I spend it. I go get my hair cut, which I don't have a whole lot of, so it doesn't cost a lot, but I still spend it, okay? So it is very real. In Japan, just to kind of give you a reference, 40% of retail is already in cryptocurrency. That's huge, right? So then you might be wondering, well, if Japan is already doing 40% of its retail in cryptocurrency, am I too late? Like, did I miss the boat like I did with the dot-com boom, or with Apple or Microsoft or Nike? No, absolutely not. We are right on time with this. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing like what you're about to see out there. And this is the perfect timing. For anyone who has been in the Bitcoin world or the crypto world or following it, you know that 2017 was a great year to make money, but it was also a great year to lose some money. Okay. And we had a lot of black eyes and broken legs, and the mob came around and twisted some arms, and they stole some of our Bitcoin, and they lied to us, and they deceived us. And it was just an ugly year. So KryptoGeneX came around with the Core 5, and they sat down and they said, we're going to fix this. How can we fix this? How can we polish Bitcoin back up and make it shiny and pretty and attractive to people and let them win? And they created KryptoGeneX. So the next question we get asked is, how do I buy it? That's an awesome question, because I had no idea. Okay. Now, it's a little easier a year down the road to buy it than it was back when I got started, and even the people before me. But the easy answer to that right now is we have these things called exchanges, and we also have some Bitcoin ATMs. And excuse me, those are the two easiest ways right now to acquire Bitcoin. And you basically just take whatever currency that you work in at the current time, and you transfer it into Bitcoin. You exchange it for an amount of Bitcoin that it's equal to. Easy peasy. So where does it come from? That is a really good question. And Satoshi Nakamoto made sure that it was very difficult to answer that question, okay? What he did was he created a decentralized algorithm that the Bitcoin is actually created on, called the blockchain. And the blockchain is basically a bunch of computers all around the world on the internet that communicate with one another and verify a certain set of numbers, a certain series of numbers, okay? And that creates a coin. So the short answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, is we mine it. And you don't know what that is, but we'll get into that later on in this presentation. But for this answer, we're just going to say we mine it, and it comes from the internet, okay? So that's the easy answer. Every single person in the world, if they're interested in cryptocurrency, has a day one in the Bitcoin world. And that day one is crazy. It's a number of feelings that are overwhelming at points. You feel lost, you feel scared, you feel confused, you don't know what to do, you don't know if you did the right thing. Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore, because at KryptoGeneX, we're going to teach everybody everything they need to know. So welcome to KryptoGeneX, the global training center for Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, ICOs, market trends, and the blockchain, and a whole lot more. But we're not going to tease you. We're going to teach you. Okay. So what is KryptoGeneX? It's the company that's going to take Bitcoin and cryptocurrency education to the world. We're going to open the doors. Remember that glass Bitcoin door? All right. So right here, this is a huge, huge slide. I'm going to slow down just a little bit right here, because there's some information that I really want you to grasp. Okay. the core five, comprised of Stephen McCullough, Mike Boggs, Jeremy Keene, Kathy Keene, and Will Fetlin. They have put blood, sweat, tears, money into this business called KryptoGeneX, creating this financial educational system. Okay. Everybody wants to know what cryptocurrency is and Bitcoin is, but they don't know how to do it or where to go or who to trust. So the core five sat down and they decided they were going to create a company where the little guy could win. What did that look like? That looked like a company that you could talk to everybody in, right? Well, sure it did. So it was very important to them to not only hire the attorneys and the advisors and all of the other people, but it was really important for them to hire 60 translators, okay? And so those 60 translators worked very diligently to create the presentation in 31 languages out the door. Now, we've been launched approximately, and not even a real launch, just a pre-launch. We've been pre-launched approximately 8 days or so, I think, and we're over 2,300 people already. We're in 60 countries, okay? The presentation is being used in all of those 60 countries in 31 different languages. I think it may even be 32 or 33 by now. And what's really cool about that, ladies and gentlemen, is if you've ever built a business before, you know how critical it is to be able to talk to the person that you're introducing the information to in their native tongue, in their lingo, because something gets lost in the Google translation. It just doesn't work. So a word that seems appropriate could offend someone. We don't want to be that company, okay? We want to be the company that teaches the world. So we now have those same translators preparing all of the training in those languages as well. So at KryptoGeneX, you're probably thinking, well, that's great, Kris, but how are you going to teach me all this information? How are you going to get it all into my head? Well, we're going to get it into your head by streaming video and audio, okay? And good news, you can actually print the lessons if you like and highlight them and make notes on them, and you can go back and rewind or set back the video where you can watch something 2 or 3 times, maybe, that you feel is very important. And so you're probably wondering, well, what are you going to teach me exactly? And that's an awesome question, because that was one of the first questions that I had when Kathy and Mike Boggs told me about this. I was like, okay, so how are you going to teach me, and what are you going to teach me? And Mike Boggs said it best. He said, Kris, we're going to teach you everything from A to Z and everything in between. And when you start out, you always start the alphabet with A. So we need you to start with the first lesson. So I said, well, what do those lessons look like? And he said, well, that's a great question. He said, we're going to teach you how to buy Bitcoin and how to safely hold it, okay? And how to create a wallet, how to sell your Bitcoin if you want to. We're going to teach you about the blockchain technology. We're going to teach you about cryptocurrencies and trading those. If you want to become a day trader with crypto, we're going to teach you. ICOs, which people are all abuzz about. We're going to teach you all that too. He said, but one of the very first things we're going to teach you is, did you know you didn't have to buy a whole Bitcoin? And I said, no. I said, when Kathy and I talked a year ago, I didn't know that I didn't have to start with a whole Bitcoin. I didn't ask. She didn't tell me. I just assumed. He said, no. He said, now a Bitcoin is $8,000 today, right? Or higher. He said, some people need to start with half of that. He said, so they can buy a Satoshi, and we're going to teach you how to do that. I said, well, what is a Satoshi, Mike? He said, it's a fraction. He said, it's actually a fraction of the Bitcoin. It's not the whole thing. I said, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. So I learned something before I ever even started KryptoGeneX from Mike. So what these lessons look like, ladies and gentlemen, are 3 modules. And these 3 modules have been meticulously set up, okay? When you go to school, I want you to kind of think about junior high, high school, and college, okay? And so that's kind of what these modules look like. We've got Bitcoin 101, cryptocurrency, and crypto advanced. And there's 15 lessons in each one of these, equaling, I think, somewhere around 45, 46 lessons, if I'm not mistaken. And These lessons will take you exactly like Mike said, from A to Z. Now, it's real important here that I tell you, I don't want you to jump into the crypto advance, although that's human nature. We want to get right to the meat and potatoes, right? I don't want you to do that, because if you do that, you're going to be confused and you're going to be lost, because you're going to miss the information at the beginning. And the beginning information is designed so that each lesson builds upon the last one. So it's real important to stay in line. Now, the other thing that I wanted to stress here is that when you finish those 45 lessons, you're going to have a huge wealth of information. Okay. This crypto education is not like anything you've ever seen before. And had I had this a year ago, I'd be having a much different conversation right now. I didn't, and that's okay, because everything happens in its own time. And we learned a lot of things along the way. So what I learned the most in this past year is that crypto is ever evolving. It's changing every single day. So this training will never end. As long as you want to be trained and as long as you want to be taught in KryptoGeneX, we're going to teach you and you're going to be updated. So that's huge. So the first two questions that we get asked every single time a new person comes on board is, what is a Bitcoin? And I'm going to give you first the actual definition, and then I'm going to give you my opinion about Bitcoin. So a Bitcoin is a decentralized, digitalized currency. It's a system that works without a central bank or a single administrator. Now, that's the official definition. My opinion is that Satoshi Nakamoto, he created the blockchain with the Bitcoin in order to save the world from economic disaster. If anyone on this call right now watching or getting this recording later remembers 2008, 2009, we had a huge blow up here in the United States with the real estate and mortgage industry, okay? And Satoshi Nakamoto sat down and he says, how can we avoid this very problem again in the future? And he created Bitcoin. And, you know, it took a few minutes for people to adjust and to kind of start looking into it. And they really didn't understand it. And we're still, you know, that was way back then, right? 2008, 2009. Okay. And we're still in 2018. We're just now getting people to understand that, you know, this is real. It's currency. So then the next question is, am I too late? Well, the best answer for that is no. And the reason that you're not too late is because around 8% of the United States knows about a Bitcoin, owns any part of a Bitcoin, or has any idea what a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is. So the timing is perfect. And I think that the timing being perfect in the industry creates an even more perfect timing for KryptoGeneX, because now is when the need is there. Now is when people are starting to knock on doors and call people and say, hey, did you see that thing on TV just yesterday, just before the presentation that I gave, just like this one yesterday? There was a crypto commercial on my television, and it kind of reminded me of those real estate infomercials that they had, where they would have these big seminars in the hotels and things, and people would come out in groves to learn about real estate. Well, they were doing something similar with cryptocurrency, and it let me know, it was a confirmation for me that we're in the right place at the right time. I listened to that infomercial, and guess what? They don't have anything even close to what we offer at KryptoGeneX. So with just one click, you too can enter the Bitcoin age with all of us at KryptoGeneX. And it's only, and I say only, $250. And I mean that sincerely when I say that, because $250 is a drop in the bucket for education, okay? That is paid in Bitcoin. The great thing about that is you're a customer with our company. So you're going to get all the education. You're going to learn everything from A to Z. You're going to get all of the updated information as it comes out. And you're going to be able to make educated decisions about your future and your family's future and their income, okay, and their finances. You're going to actually be able to become your own bank with that $250 investment. Now, if you're like I am, and you just bust at the seams when you learn something really cool or you experience something really great, you have to tell the world, well, you can earn while you learn, okay? And so for $50, it's an admin fee. We pay that yearly, okay, to KryptoGeneX. KryptoGeneX will actually pay us an affiliate fee for telling other people about the program. How cool is that? And they pay us in Bitcoin. So you're actually earning Bitcoin while you're learning what to do with it later. That is really cool. So how do you earn Bitcoin? Well, at KryptoGeneX, we have 4 ways. There's a lot of ways to earn Bitcoin, and I'm not going to go into all of those. It would take too long. But what I will go into is what we do at KryptoGeneX, and we teach people to earn while they learn. So we give them a direct referral bonus, or an DRB. We give them a CAB bonus, or customer acquisition bonus. We have something called the Kryptonary, and I know you don't know what that is because we coined that word, but I will explain it. And we have the Kryptonary matching bonus. So what do those look like, Kris? They look like this right here. The qualifications for a direct referral bonus and a customer acquisition bonus are the same. And it looks like this. I'm getting ready to sign up, and I've talked to Susie and John. Susie and John are as interested as I am, but they say, you know what? We've kind of worked with you before, and we kind of want you to go first. Do you mind? Okay, so I sign up first, right? Susie and John sign in right behind me. I'm qualified to make a commission off of both of those guys coming in behind me. Now, that's really important because we're going to talk about the Kryptonary now. The Kryptonary, for those of you who have been in the industry, worked in marketing in any way, shape, or form, you've probably heard of something called a binary. Well, KryptoGeneX doesn't really care for the word binary, and they don't really care for a lot of the rules that go along with the binary, but there were some good things about the binary. So they took that and they created the Kryptonary. And what that looks like is you're only going to be building 2 teams, ladies and gentlemen, one on the right, one on the left, okay? You're going to personally sponsor Susie on the right and John on the left. Remember, Susie and John were behind me, and I just signed up. I am automatically qualified to participate in the compensation plan with the Kryptonary. That's huge. And it's done. It's qualified. I'm qualified for life. Now, a Kryptonary matching bonus, that sounds like you'd have to have some more qualification, right? Like there'd be some more work to it before you could actually get to that money, right? Absolutely not. The qualifications are exactly the same for the matching bonus as they are for the Kryptonary. That's pretty cool. So a direct referral bonus, what is it, Kris? Well, glad you asked. I love $100 bills, okay? $100 bills are my best friend. They make my wallet thin, okay? Now, here's the thing about $100 bills. Every time someone comes into your business for that $250 education package, right? KryptoGeneX is going to give you $100. Now, don't get real excited. They're not going to send you a $100 bill, and they're not going to write you a check. They are going to pay you in Bitcoin. And that's huge because remember, we need to be earning while we're learning. But what I want you to understand here is that's a 40% direct referral bonus just for referring somebody. That's pretty big. I don't know another company doing that. Now, the great thing about most businesses, and I want you to understand this is a business. Although it's an education system, it's a business too. And I want to also stress that it's a $1 million business for $300. Okay. Now, to me, when I start a business, I want a business plan and I want to know exactly, I want a roadmap of exactly how to get my ROI. So that's why selling 3 and it's free is so important to me, because as soon as you have introduced 3 people and they come on board with you as a customer and or a promoter, your system is free. You just got your $1 million business for free. That's pretty big. So what is a customer acquisition bonus? Well, a customer acquisition bonus looks like this. KryptoGeneX, they noticed something. Core 5 said, you know, how do we stay in business forever? Right? That was their question. How do we stay in business forever? Well, the light bulb went off all 5 of their heads, and they realized that to stay in business forever, they had to have some customers, right? So everybody doesn't want to be a promoter. Everybody doesn't want other people to know what they're doing. They're private, right? So we need those customers. So KryptoGeneX says, well, if we had customers, we would stay in business for a long time. Well, they went to the lawyer, and the lawyer says, well, if you're gonna put customers in your business, you got to pay people to bring you customers. You need to give them an extra $25. So guess what? We give you an extra $25 because the lawyer said so. It's that simple. All right. Now, KryptoGeneX wants customers so much that they will encourage you to put at least 10 customers in your business. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because when you hit that 10th customer, KryptoGeneX is going to give you a $250 bonus. Okay, that's not the 250 that you made on each customer. That's 250 extra dollars as a bonus. I call that date night. When Joe and I do this presentation, I'd say, you know what, Joe? That's date night, and that's what it is. So we love customers so much at KryptoGeneX that they have authorized me to give you a brand new MacBook Pro and or an iPhone or Android in the latest version when you hit that 100th customer. Remember, I talked to you about those customers. If you want an example, look at it like this. Everywhere you go, you can't drive 10 miles, you don't see a Walmart, okay? Walmart understands that customers are their business, and they wouldn't have so many stores if they didn't have the customers. So that's kind of where your mindset needs to be. You need to have customers, okay? So what is the cryptonary? Well, I want to pause here because I've kind of been going a little bit fast. I hope I haven't lost anybody, but I want to pause and slow down just a little bit here because I want to stress this, okay? Remember, I told you in my example that John and Susie were behind me, and they wanted me to get involved first because we had all worked together before, and we worked well together. So I went in, and they came in behind me. So I'm building Susie's team, and I'm building John's team, right? Remember, I only need to be qualified for life, right? With one on the right, one on the left. 2 teams, ladies and gentlemen, 2 teams, okay? So why is that important? Well, it's super important to Susie and John because I'm going to be talking to a lot of people. I got a big mouth. I can't shut up, okay? So all these people that I'm talking to and all these people I'm putting in the business, they're going to go down underneath Susie and down underneath John. That's going to create team camaraderie, all right? And it's going to help the business grow. And it's going to help people feel secure, all right? So you don't have to worry about managing 100 people or 12 people or 300 people or whatever that number might have been in a business before that you've had. You just have to worry about managing John and Susie and helping John and Susie and then put those people in underneath them. That's huge. So what does the cryptonary look like? The cryptonary looks like this. This is me at the top. John is on my left. Susie's on my right. Excuse me. And Joe is going to go in under Susie because I can only work on one team at a time. So Susie being a female and me being the gentleman that I am, I'm going to work with Susie first. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to work with Susie. And Joe goes in. And as soon as Joe goes in, guess what happens? We're going to take Sue and Joe, and we're going to take John, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and that kicks out a $25 payment for me. 3 points makes a $25 payment. That's big, okay? Now, what's even bigger than that is that the team that is the largest, doesn't matter which side it is, whichever team is the largest, your points don't flush. Now, that probably doesn't really have a great meaning to you at the moment, but it will further in the presentation. So remember that, okay? So here's what team spillover looks like. And a lot of us have been in network marketing. We've been in multi-level marketing. We've been in businesses that were direct sales. And we've all been told team spillover, team spillover, team spillover. We've never really ever seen the true meaning of team spillover. Well, KryptoGeneX decided they were going to fix this, okay? So in this example, I'm still working with Susie on my right, okay? One team at a time, working with Susie on my right. And she has put in Joe and 2 more people underneath of her, okay? And this one guy here, which we're going to name Josh, at the arrow, he's getting ready to come in, all right? So Josh he's excited. I've been talking to Josh for a while, and he's ready to go. He's got his Bitcoin. He's been burned in another company, but he knows that he needs education if he's going to stay in the crypto space. So he says, Kris, I want in. And I said, okay, Josh, here's my link, sign up. And he's going to fall in my right side, okay? Now, what's important about that? Well, what's important is the person above him's name is Pam, okay? And Pam she's pretty good, but she's like, I've heard the spillover thing and I've heard teamwork and I just don't know. And so I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to call Pam and I'm going to say, hey, Pam, Josh just signed up and he's in your team. How cool is that? And she's going to go, really? And I'm going to say, yeah. let me put you on the phone with him. Hang on. And I'm going to dial Josh and I'll say, hey, Josh, introduce yourself to Pam. Pam, introduce yourself to Josh. I'm going to give them about 2 or 3 minutes to get to know one another. Then I'm going to interrupt them because they're going to go down a rabbit hole, okay? And I'm going to tell them what I need you guys to do is trade information, because Josh, now you not only have me as a sponsor, but you have Pam to help you as well, because she's kind of right above you and you're in her team. And Pam, guess what? Josh has been in a few companies before and he's got a huge team following him. And he could probably teach you a thing or two too. So it's going to be good for your teamwork as well. Everybody's happy. Everybody wins. This is what true spillover looks like. Now, Pam is still going to get all the credit for everything that Josh does, even though he was directly sponsored by me. That's what you call true spillover. Now, the KryptoGeneX team bonus, what does that look like? Well, ladies and gentlemen, remember we talked about points. We talked about 3 points making $25. So what does that look like? Well, I've switched over here and now I'm working on John's team, okay? And excuse me, John's taken off and he's decided that he's going to put in, we'll call this person Mary with the blue arrow here. So Mary comes into the team. Now remember, Mary's coming into my team too because John's in my team, right? So Mary comes in, but I didn't sponsor Mary. John did, okay? So I get a point for Mary. And guess what? She pairs up with 2 from the other leg under Susie. 1, 2, 3. There's my $25. Huge. Okay. This happens every time that this happens in your team. That's really big. Get your pens and paper ready. Okay. So you're probably wondering, well, what is this points? Why do we get points? Because the lawyer said we had to. Okay. And if you ask Steve McCullough, he'll tell you the lawyer said we had to, we put it in there. So why are we doing a point system? Well, we wanted to be able to reward people and give people something to work towards. Okay. So for every sale that you do in your business at $300, KryptoGeneX is going to give you 1 point. All right. Now, remember, we told you we really like customers. Remember? So we were encouraging people to do the customer thing, right? So that's a $250 sale. Well, we still get that $100 plus the $25 that they gave us. But the lawyer says, well, if you're going to give a point for the $300 sale, then you've got to give something for the customer sale too. So the company came back and said, well, we'll give them a half a point. How cool is that? Well, guess what? Those half a points make whole points, and whole points make what? 3 points. And there comes the $25. Huge money. This adds up, guys and gals. I'm telling you, it adds up really quickly. So now, what happens if that happens in your team? Same thing. You're still going to get a point or a half a point for every $300 and $250 sale. That's huge. Now, in every company, I don't care what the company is, there's always just a little bit of bad news. So here it is. KryptoGeneX is very transparent. So they want you to know from the beginning what that bad news is. They don't want that to sideblind you later on down the road, right? So they throw it right into their presentation and they say, guess what? We got some bad news. It's a $50,000 cap. Oh my God, a $50,000 cap. I guess that's a year, right? Nope. A month? Nope. That's a week. Okay. So now you can make $200,000 a month. All right. That's nothing to sneeze at, right? So if you're making $50,000 a week, then you're probably going to want to make 51,000, right? Or, 60,000 or whatever the case may be. Well, KryptoGeneX thought about that too. Okay. So what they did was to ease the pain of that bad news just a little bit. When you hit your $50,000 cap for 2 weeks consecutively in a row, they're going to give you a second position above your larger team. And guess what? They're going to give you the opportunity to max that position out as well. So you now not only have the opportunity to make that 50,000, but you can make another 50,000, which makes $100,000 a week. And that is good money all day long. All right. So KryptoGeneX matching bonus, what is that really about? Why is that so important? Well, it's important because there are some people out there that may only know one major marketer. Okay. They may only know that one guy that can knock it out the park. Okay. And in a lot of companies, you have to really build a team in order to, see any real significance from that, right? So what does that look like here at KryptoGeneX? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to explain it to you. It looks like this. Remember, you got two teams. You're building one right, one left. Here's Susan, here's John, okay? And you're putting everybody else underneath. All right. So we've got those folks in place. And, you know, by default, word of mouth, going to church, Walmart, whatever, going to get your car fixed, you put 3 or 4 more people in. All right. And now your confidence is built up a little bit. Your chest is sticking out just a little bit. You know, you're feeling, I can do this. You know what? That marketer that signs me up for everything, every time he gets in something, I'm going to call him. I'm going to call James. So I go to James and I say, James, I got this great thing. And he says, what is it? I says, it's education. Education in what? It's education in cryptocurrency and network marketing. He's like, whoa, really? I'm like, yeah. He's like, sign me up. Wow. That was easy, right? Okay. Now what happens? Well, because I signed up James and he's that big marketer that knocks it out of the park, I'm going to get up to 10% of everything that he does. That is why the team bonus is so big. Let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I know I've given you a lot of information and you've had some really great things explained to you today, but I've got just one more thing that I need to talk to you about. And I wish Joe was here, because if Joe was here, he'd tell you all about Super App and Little Baby App, his sidekick. But it's just me, so you're going to have to hear it from me. We've got 2 apps, ladies and gentlemen, and the first one is kind of a big, robust app. He's got Superman on his chest, okay? And he's for all of our members. And he's for those members that they've got a little bit of money. You know, we'll say $50. Maybe they got $50,000. And to them, that's a little bit of money. And they want to invest it. Well, they're going to invest it in their own exchange, right? And they have taken this education. So now they kind of can make educated decisions, and they can move it over here and move it over there, and you know, maybe short sale it over here or fast sale over there. The point is that this app is going to keep them in current knowledge. This app is going to communicate with them. All right. It's going to let them know that China just closed down cryptocurrency, or maybe it's going to come out and say that the SEC says we're not going to tax cryptocurrency. Well, that would make a big difference, wouldn't it? It would change the way you're thinking about your investment for sure, right? So this is why this app is so important. Now, remember I said it has a baby app. Okay, what is baby app? Well, baby app is designed to kind of send out videos, news, updates. I kind of look at it more like my digital business card. So I'm talking to Johnny Joe, and Johnny Joe has been hurt by 2 or 3 of those companies that we won't mention any names of, and he's got a black eye. The mob came and broke his arm, and his brother broke both his legs because he got in, and guess what? It was ugly. So Johnny Joe is a little bit reluctant, right? He's like, I'm done with crypto. I don't want anything else to do with that. And I'm like, well, you know what, Johnny Joe, I understand that. But you know that cryptocurrency is huge, and you know that the world is going to adapt to cryptocurrency, and you know that that's where you need to be. And your kids will be spending cryptocurrency probably before you leave this planet. So I'm going to give you this app. And all I want you to do is just kind of watch it and listen to it and just kind of keep informed with it. Will you do that for me? Absolutely, he will. What am I going to do? I'm going to let him simmer for a week or 2, and then I'm going to go back and say, Johnny Joe, what do you think about that app? And he's going to say, Kris, this is off the hook. I want the full app. How do I get in this? That's what your apps are for, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So KryptoGeneX, who's it for? KryptoGeneX is for everybody. And why is it for everybody? Well, I know 3 things that come off the top of my head without even thinking about it. First, mentorship, okay? Being taken by the hand, invited into a family environment, protected. Who doesn't want to feel protected and special and loved, right? Okay? That's one of the things we offer at KryptoGeneX. 2, education. Education in a way that is incomparable to anything else I've ever seen, incomparable to anything else that will ever come. There will be people that will try to imitate KryptoGeneX, make no mistake, but they are way behind and they'll never catch up, okay? The thing about KryptoGeneX and its education is that we are going to be able to give you years worth, and I said years worth, of education in 45 lessons, which means you're going to come out the gate running instead of the gate opening and you standing there and going, what do I do? Okay. And then the third thing that pops straight into my mind with a big red flashing sign is legal and compliant. Legal and compliant. It's like a neon sign shining in my eyes. Okay. And this is huge. This is so important because the industry has really, I mean, it's suffered. We joke, we talk about black eyes and broken legs. Okay. But in reality, it was more like disappearing Bitcoin and lies and deceit, but it's the same thing. Okay. And for us, it means that now we've got somewhere that we can depend on. Okay. Because KryptoGeneX, they hired the attorneys and they're on retainer, and they're not going to let KryptoGeneX tell us anything or let us do anything that's not compliant and legal, especially in the United States. And if you're legal and compliant in the United States, odds are everybody else is going to be legal and compliant because they kind of follow suit to the US. So that's why KryptoGeneX is for everyone. With just one click, you can change your life too. We have a little bit of housekeeping we need to do here. So if you'll bear with me, I'll put on my reading glasses. And is KryptoGeneX legal? We have retained the top attorneys in the marketing sector and the financial sector. We have retained a top advisor in the direct marketing sector. We have and will continue to follow the advice and the guidance of this team. We have spared no expense on being sure that KryptoGeneX is completely compliant in all areas. Now, KryptoGeneX is a proud US-based company. Disclaimer: this information is intended for educational and training purposes only and should not be construed as investment advice. As with all financial decisions, you should contact your licensed financial advisor before investing in any financial instrument. One more slide. KryptoGeneX disclaimer. The KryptoGeneX compensation plan is an exciting opportunity that rewards you for selling products and services and for sponsoring other participants who do the same. Although the opportunity is unlimited, individual results will vary depending on commitment levels and sales skills of each participant. Since KryptoGeneX has recently launched, it lacks enough statistical data to prepare reliable income disclosures. The numbers below reflect estimates prepared by the company pending a more detailed survey to be conducted after its first year. Based on industry standards and company projections, the average annual gross income for affiliates is projected to be somewhere between $250 and $2,000. Now, there will certainly be participants who earn less, while others will learn more. We're excited about the KryptoGeneX compensation plan, and we're confident it will provide you a solid foundation to help you achieve all of your financial goals. If income projections were presented to you prior to your enrollment, such projections are not necessarily representative of the income, if any, that you can or will earn through your participation in this compensation plan. These income projections should not be considered as guarantees or projections to your actual earnings or profits. Now, this is the most important sentence. Your success with KryptoGeneX results from hard work, dedication, faith, leadership, commitment, teamwork, and a little bit of luck. And you know what? You can have all of the others, and the luck can be the one thing that changes your entire organization. I'd like to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming today and allowing me to present this information on behalf of KryptoGeneX. I would also like to remind you that you are more than welcome to attend another presentation today at 3 p.m. and again at 9 this evening. If you've been sent here by someone, I would encourage you to get back to the person who asked you to come see this presentation, get all of your questions answered, and if they are unable to answer those questions, please get with a Pinnacle leader and or a Core 5 member, and we'll be glad to take care of those for you. Again, thank you very much and have a blessed day. Thanks, everybody.